Gianni, I can see you're in.
Ciao, hello
Ciao.
everyone.
Good to see you. Let's wait for, I think Anne is joining as well for this.
Nice to see you and nice to see everybody. Well, I don't see anyone, but I know you are here.
People can see you.
Okay, that's
That's
good.
it. So let's give it 30 seconds, a minute, but I think Anne joining soon. Oh, here you are. Hello, Anne.
Hey, how are you?
Very good. And great to see you after, it's been like 3 years.
I know.
Pre-pandemics.
So long. Pre-pandemic life. That's when we hung out last.
So thank you both, Gianni and Anna, to be with us today. Let me introduce you both. So Anne, she's founder of Girl Gone International, which is the largest expat community for women. I'm sure some of you had heard of it. And Gianni Bianchini, he is founder of Nomadi Digitali Italiani and also Digital Nomad Coach. So I think we're gonna have like 10, 15 minutes for this chat, but I would like to, I think people would love to learn about more your career, how you came into your story, how you came into what you're doing today, which is related to community and digital nomads. So it's very relevant to our network. And maybe Anne, I'll let you start and tell us what happened back in the days when you said, oh, there's Girl Gone International in my head.
Sure. So I think I was like a digital nomad before there was even laptops. I look like 5 years old, but I'm very old. So I think I was like kind of living this lifestyle. Maybe about 20 years ago I started. And I was moving like just from country to country every time. And then the loneliness kept increasing every time. So every time I moved to a new city and I was starting my life again from scratch, and I always find myself without friends. And this could last for 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, or I'd finally meet some friends and then they would move away very quickly. And I'd be back to the beginning again of feeling a little bit socially isolated or just not having a friendship circle. And so finally, I think it was like 10 years in, I reached Hamburg and I decided that I would speed up the whole entire process of feeling at home in this new city. And so I thought, well, I can't really walk around the city of Hamburg with a sandwich board saying, I'm lonely, be my friend. That would be weird. And also the women, you can't really just go into the local Irish bar and hang out because you just get hit on. And so I was like, how do I find a safe, easy way to meet like friends and female friends in particular? And so I just went online and I just started to look for other women living as foreigners in the city. And I would kind of just try to work it out by guessing on their name that they didn't sound maybe like from Hamburg. And so I'd message them and then organized to meet up in real life. And that's now 10 years ago. And so now we're in, well, just what started as a very personal need to find friends. It just turns out I wasn't the only one feeling this way. It's a very, very common thing to need to find friends when you arrive in a new city. And so now we're in 260 cities right across the world. We have a team of about 1,000 volunteers that organize in real life meetups. So we use like different platforms to connect online, but the ultimately what we do is to meet up in real life. And so I think we've held over 22,000 free events as well, because we're not in this to make money. Sometimes I kick myself, but it was never the intention back in the day. So we continue as is. And so, yeah, we just make sure that it's really easy for people to find each other when they move overseas and find friends, and make sure the barriers to friendship are super low and it's really easy to integrate into the city.
Very cool. I mean, it's impressive. I forgot that I think at the time that we met like a few years ago, there was like probably 150 cities. So you kind of doubled, and
yeah,
I'm sure the community is what, 500,000 now?
Yeah, probably more. I think the latest count was about 750,000, but it's really hard to count those many people. So we just kind of have to guess. And also because we're based a lot on Facebook, Facebook give us the numbers because they can kind of see from the back end. So we just go on the numbers that they give us.
Okay. Very, very cool. I have a couple of questions that are around your story, but before that, Gianni, since 2013, you've been a digital nomads and travelers, did like 3,000 days traveling, and tell us how you came into this. how you
yeah.
manage to work while doing all this.
Well, I still have to understand how to manage my time after all these years. Well, I started in 2013, as you said, and the beginning, I was following some digital nomad bloggers, international bloggers, like maybe some of you might remember Nomadic Matt and Jody Attenberg of Legal Nomads, Gary Hart. I was following these blogs, and back in 2012, 1 year before, I was thinking to do the same. Actually, I had a job, office job in Germany, and with my girlfriend of that time, we started with this idea, and we started to save money. Actually, we are the classic digital nomads that just left the job in the office, and with some savings, we started to travel the world. We didn't have any business at that time. We started from Chiang Mai. We moved in Chiang Mai in October 2013, and we started a travel blog. We knew we wanted to have a travel blog. The blog still exists. It's called Nomad is Beautiful. And so we just started to learn everything. My ex-girlfriend, she was writing in English. I was doing all the technological stuff and the photography. And then we learn SEO. We learn how to work with the brands, everything that involves working as a travel blogger, social media, and all that stuff. And we worked with this travel blog until the pandemic. And the pandemic affected so many people all around the world, and also us. And actually, I also split with this girl, and I now have this blog, and I started to create another business, which is actually the business of digital nomad coach, a new type of coach. We are full of coaches around the world, and now there is also a digital nomad coach. Basically, I do consulting, and I help people to do the transition, working from offline to online, and everything I learned in this year, especially related to blogging, setting up a website, social media, YouTube. I have 2 YouTube channels. And in these years, I have also grown a community on Facebook. It's called Nomadi Digitali Italiani. I started this community in 2015. And then now we are like 12,000 members. We do organize physical meetups around the world, mostly in Italy, but also in other countries. Last year we were in Bansko in Bulgaria, where we organized a co-living of 40 people, all Italian digital nomads. There was Bansko Nomad Fest. Also, we were the biggest group of digital nomad representing a country. And so, yeah, I'm quite active in Italy trying to promote this lifestyle.
Yeah, and I think we are all into that lifestyle, I would say. I was curious to understand, because you're both, activities, of course, are related to digital nomads and people, traveling and moving for work abroad. How the pandemics has affected or changed, and how you adapted. You talk about both about meetups, about physical events. What happened in the last 2 years for your communities, for the people you work with? Anne, maybe let you start.
Yeah, so we had to shift completely online, and it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be, because obviously it was done by necessity, and it wasn't just happening in one country, it was happening in all countries. And also we could kind of see it coming. So we have a lot of communities in China and that part of the world. So we were maybe at least a month, 6 weeks ahead, knowing and sensing that this was going to come. And so we moved all our events in China online. So by the time it hit the rest of the world, we kind of had our model in place that we just started to do online gatherings. And I think at that time as well, like a lot of women they live alone, and so there was like a big demand, desire to meet online, which I think other communities didn't necessarily have, because there were so many other options out there. But there's still, the needs was still there to feel connected, to feel not alone, especially during a pandemic, especially being very, very far from home. And so everyone kind of dived into these like online hangouts, much to my surprise, because I'm not big into online hangouts myself. But there was demand there, and so we met that demand, and basically community leaders shifted from hosting in real life events to hosting these online events. But then there was like a huge fatigue. Like this was a big, massive change for a lot of community leaders who are also under pressure just personally as well. It's like you're trying to lead a community, but you're also trying to deal with it yourself because your whole life has changed. Maybe you've lost your job, maybe you can't get back to family, and maybe you're stuck at home on your own as well. And so what we try to do is like relieve the pressure, so not put the pressure on them to hold like local online events, but we just brought it global. And so those of us that did have a ton of energy, we just created a series of online like, global events, and the local managers could post that into their local group. So the pressure wasn't on them to host or to organize or to bring people in. It was on a small bunch of us. So we managed to scale the activity quite well. I'm extremely proud of everyone and what they accomplished. Looking back, I've still got no idea how it even happened. And then we're shifting back to in real life events again, but not everywhere as well. I think having a global community, you can see like some people are like the pandemic's over, back to in real life events, and then other times other countries it's still completely locked down, and there's just as much demand for in real life events, online events as ever before.
Yeah, and I think do you think you will adopt like what we're doing now, which are basically a hybrid one? So we have you guys, some speakers and some attendees online, but then we have also here physically present here. Are you thinking to combine the two to allow more people to
participate? This is quite inspiring. I never actually thought until you've mentioned it just now. It actually didn't occur to me that that's an option. So maybe something we could talk about afterwards. I think it's actually quite a cool idea. And what I have been exploring is like virtual reality meetups as well. Like how can we bring in VR into our community? So yeah, I'm always open to looking at different ways to connect people. I think it doesn't matter if it's online, in real life, too much, as long as it's very, very meaningful and it's safe. I think those are the two things, like make it meaningful, make it safe. And yeah, I think just mental health comes when you feel connected and not alone and supported. And so if we can create any kind of ways to make that happen, then well, all the better.
Yeah, and you just mentioned something interesting I would like to ask as bounce to Gianni a question regarding mental health. So, the people you work with as a coach, have you interacted on this topic? Because some people who are digital nomads, okay, they might be used to it, but then some people who wants to move into a digital nomad's lifestyle, well, they need to probably get used to being sometimes alone. What are your thoughts around this? And maybe you can tell us about your experience in the last 2 years during this pandemic.
This is to me?
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Well, personally, when the pandemic started, I found myself in Bulgaria. And so apart from affecting my business and my relationship, I lived anyway a lockdown quite easy in a way because there were not so many restrictions. But of course, I was a lot in contact with Italians that they probably, as a country, they had the toughest restrictions. And so at that time, what we did, personally, I posted on my Facebook, on my social media, I posted some kind of help. I wanted to help people feeling less alone, helping maybe if they wanted to talk with someone. And actually I had like 4 or 5 people contacted me, and we started a series of calls. We did meditation, we did Wim Hof breathing. I do Wim Hof method. I don't know if you guys know about this crazy guy doing ice baths and breathing. So we did all these techniques for relaxing and for boosting energy. So on my small side, I started to help people virtually with these calls. And then we started also with the community of the community we have on Facebook. We started to create these calls just of support. Every week we were speaking together, whoever wants to take part, and it was an open call and talking about how they were living the pandemic, the restriction, especially in the period of the lockdown. And I remember we did a virtual meetup. It was our third meetup. The first two meetup, they were in Canary Islands, and they were in real life. And because of the pandemic, the third was during 2020, and we did a virtual meetup with a platform. I forgot the name now. It's an Italian platform where we were all there. There were also our avatars moving in a conference hall, and it was nice. There were a lot of people taking part. We had a lot of fun, a lot of networking, a lot of sharing. And then, in 2021, they eased the restrictions, and it was a little bit better. And as I said, we met in real life in Basco in 2021. So yeah, from our side, we try to stay connected. I have to say that what I was doing with these calls, I mean, I was using Zoom and Skype already before the pandemic for work. The digital nomads pre-pandemic, they were already using this kind of tools to communicate, to work, to connect. For me, it was nothing new. And now I have to say that, yeah, more people are using this tool like Zoom, like Meet, and also Skype. But I noticed that people now, especially digital nomads, they are meeting more offline. In my opinion, I see more the search for the communities. In fact, there are many more co-living spaces. There are very multiplication of this co-living everywhere. Actually, I'm in a co-living in Tbilisi now. There is a great community. So I think the pandemic accelerated this process, and it changed a little bit. Before, the digital nomads were maybe more alone, and now the digital nomads all over the world, they are traveling and going specifically in locations where there are co-living, co-working. So they have this need to stay physically together with other people.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you both mentioned the importance of creating relationship while you're doing your digital nomading. And I personally have a beautiful experience here in Fuerteventura, where I basically locked down here back in 2020, and then last year I came back, and then I met amazing other digital nomads who are actually here in the room, and we have this feeling of being almost a family. So we start moving now around. We're just having two weeks in Sardinia together last summer, and then we're gonna travel together. We buy a car together. There is one who bought a villa, and we stay at his. So it's so important indeed to build these relationships, because otherwise you risk to feel alone, and especially if you have a lot of work and that. So you need to install that feeling of a community. And that's our goal with DJ Nomads, is to create that level of relationship creation, of course, professionally based, but then as Anna knows very well, the business and the professional setting and the personal aspects are merged together. You can meet for a coffee, for a brunch, and then discuss about your interests in yoga, but then also say what you're doing. So I think the professional and the personal space are blending a lot with digital nomads. And maybe I have a question for you, Gianni. What are the most important skills to have or to develop in order to approach and to live and fulfill a digital nomad's lifestyle? If you have to say the top three, let's say.
Well, I think adaptability. You need to really adapt yourself to the lifestyle. It's not easy because when we are living in our cities, in our homes, we tend to stay too much in our comfort zone. And so everything it's easier, you know. We have all we need in our house, outside in our neighborhood, so very close to us. And the life of digital nomad, I think, every day, especially for a digital nomad that is traveling full time, as me, to adapt to every new city, every new country. And so this involves sleeping in a new bed, in a new room, and start to understand a new culture, adapt to the city. And of course, when you travel for many years, everything becomes easier because every country at the end is almost the same. But of course, at the beginning, when you start this lifestyle, you really need to be able to adapt yourself easily and faster, of course. Why I say faster? Because if you don't adapt faster, every time you move in another city, you need to waste time to adapt, to readjust yourself. For example, me personally, now I know how to do, but every time I was moving from one city to another city, going to a new hotel, a new Airbnb, or new co-living, a new place, there is that moment that you need to enter in a productivity mode. Okay. And that moment can last 24 hours, can last 2-3 days, or also 1 week. And I remember, okay, I was going from Chiang Mai, then I'm going to stay 1 month in Bangkok, 1 month in Bali. And there is also that 1, 2, 3 days, 1 week that you need to adapt. Once you start to learn more things, you can reduce this period of adaptation. And now, after many years, I can adapt myself in 1 day. I'm already in the new place. I know where to put my computer, what I need, how to create my little space where to work. You know what you need, what are your requirements, the connection, if you want to stay near the sea, what kind of comfort you want in the place you're going to sleep. So all these kind of things. So for me, this is the first one, adaptability. The second is willing to again go out from your comfort zone, but in the sense that trying to do always networking online and offline, because at least for me, you don't want to feel alone. But apart from that, meeting other people helps you to grow your skills, grow yourself as a person. You can share skills, you can share knowledge, you can help each other to grow. And this for me is important. So you need to do networking everywhere you go, offline and also online. So going in Facebook groups, meet up, and then maybe meeting in real life. And the third skills, third skills, I would say more than a skill is the need to unplug. And this is very important because there is a problem that working online, working in front of a screen for as a lifestyle. The problem is that it become another kind of sedentary life, of course. And so you need to learn how to unplug, close the computer, remove all the notifications, and go out there in the nature or doing meditation or doing activities. And I've seen many people, also myself in the past, now less, you can be sucked in work and staying 8, 9, 10, 11 hours in front of the screen. And if you repeat this every day, you arrive at something that is called burnout. And burnout is not good. So you need at some point to be able to switch from working mode, and I call it working mode and travel mode. For me, the travel mode is when I open the door, I go there outside and visit the new city where I am. So the ability to switch through these two modes, it took me a while to arrive there, because at the beginning I was just working mode, probably because I was coming from office life, and then but then after I learned, and now I try to work less hours and enjoy more life.
Great. Anna, how do you enjoy life? How do you balance, or what are your top suggestion to live a great remote working and digital nomad life?
I mean, I'm probably not the world's best example. I'm very good at telling other people what to do, but never really do it myself. The moment I'm in Venice, you can see it behind me, and I've actually found it very hard to switch off. So it's just very interesting there what Gianni was saying about my takeaway is that I'm going to go into travel mode. So after this call, I'm going to be like travel, and I'm going to go out and explore, because even when I'm walking around the streets, I'm carrying all the work in my head. You feel a bit guilty because I haven't done enough today, and so there's no point being in travel mode and being in a beautiful place if all you're doing is walking around feeling as if you should be back in your hotel doing some work. I just think like self-care, like anything, self-care looks like different things to different people. So really getting to know yourself, finding ways to comfort yourself and giving yourself a lot of time out, and just doing basic things like sleep, don't drink too much alcohol, drink water, walk, exercise. I think just looking after this body that takes us all around the world, just like give it a lot of love and attention and care, because that's basically our main mode of transport, really. And so, yeah, that's just what I do. And I'm always looking for ways to improve the balance, for sure.
Yeah, and in relation to building relationships where you are, for example, you're in Venice now. I'm sure there are like 5,000 GGI members in Venice.
Very small.
Are you going to meet them? No?
Our community is super, super small. And also it's just one thing that I realize I can't do. When I go to a new city, I can't always go to the meetups. I can't always be on, because even though I need the community myself, like I'm in not work mode, but I'm definitely in a different role there of trying to connect others and not necessarily connecting myself. And so what I did last night was I met the community leader in Venice. So there's an event tonight, but I just don't have like the emotional energy right now to go and be on that sort of GGI founder mode. It's just not where I'm at. Sometimes it is, and sometimes I have to recognize I don't have to push myself and always be that person. Sometimes I just need to like just be me and just take some downtime. So I met up with her last night, and it was lovely, just because we get to talk about Venice. I get to learn, I get to build relationships, because GGI is all about relationships. Like everyone's a volunteer, everyone's doing this because we share such a strong mission together. And so just building those connections and relationships one-on-one is what I find is like better for myself. And then they can go out and they can go and connect with the members, because they often they're a lot younger than me and have a lot more energy for this than I do. So that's kind of my method right now, is just really working building these one-to-one relationships with the other community leaders, because there's 400 of them. I can handle 400. I can't handle 750,000 members, but I just find the stronger relationships are within the team, the stronger the community is overall.
Yeah, and how do you keep this relationship alive? Because one thing is about meeting and networking, but then you need to keep the network alive. So how do you handle within GGI that at scale?
It's a very good question. I'm again always working on that too. There's no perfect model. How we've structured it is that we have global mentorship teams, basically. So it's like we have mentorship programs really and support systems in place. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but overall they're very effective, because it's just like we're looking after one another. So there's me and a few like people who work on GGI like semi full time, and then we just find ways to distribute information, distribute support, and then get everyone to kind of help each other out. And so it's a bit of a different model. We don't really like to manage people, because I don't think anyone who comes in to run a community needs another boss. I think the last thing anyone needs is another client, like manager or something like this. So we just try to look at each other as friends and then help each other out as friends do. And that's just our system. And then I want to do return to in-life meetups as well, where we did this a lot before the pandemic. We're actually sponsored by Facebook to do this. So I traveled to Asia with some of the team, and we held like a big community leader hangout in Hong Kong. And then we traveled to Morocco. And then we brought all the community leaders that could come to Morocco to hang out in real life as well. We've not done as many online hangouts as I would like to. It's definitely something I want to do again, but I'm also very conscious of the fatigue kicking in. So I don't want to put too much pressure on people. I think just having an open door policy, like being there when people need you. And then just really encouraging this friendship and mentorship where it can exist.
Yeah, and if you have to say, so that's to keep your, let's say your team, your volunteer team engaged with each other. What is your playbook to reach such a community, to have built? Have you a recipe book right now to say, okay, well, if you want to build a community, these are the factors that you cannot miss. You need to have.
For sure. Yeah, we definitely have a roadmap that all cities follow, and it works. We've tried it out. It works in every single city in the world. So we start from a woman going to a city who doesn't know anyone, knows nothing, and she's going to create a community. And so that's our starting point. And so then over the course of 1 year, we've built a roadmap that you follow. And so there's certain things you do at certain stages of the community build to get to, with it in 12 months, to have a community over like a minimum of 1,000 members that's 70% engaged and that has at least one in real life meetup per month. So we do have a model, we do have, for want of a better word, like KPIs, we do measure the success of the community, and we've based this on 10 years of learning. And then of course we customize locally as well. So there's types of events we can do in Berlin that we can't do in Abu Dhabi. There's types of communication, types of things we can talk about that we can't talk about in other places. And so we customize locally and just really trust the on the ground local leaders to understand the culture in those cities and to adapt the community and our framework and our model and our best practices to the city that they're in. But honestly, there is a roadmap, there is a strategy that can be followed step by step that does lead to success. And yeah, so if anybody ever wants to talk about that, let me know.
Awesome. Yeah, no, definitely. I would love to, because we are, as you know, we are starting right now this Nomads global network of digital nomads worldwide, and you know, we share the same vision on building relationship. That's the final goal of this network, and in general of Lounge, which is the platform on the back. So I think the three of us are really into value the importance of building those relationships, nurturing those relationships, because it's not just about meeting people, but then deciding with whom you want to spend time and to give dedication and help and support. So I would love to reconnect and chat about that. I see that maybe the last thing I would like to ask you, if you have a fun anecdote of the last 2 years in the pandemics from a meeting and networking point of view. Did you see somebody that it was in another part of the planet where you were, or do you have something to share on this, Gianni or Anna? Yeah.
Let me think. Anna, if you have already the anecdote.
I have no anecdotes. Mine are all tragic and sad, so I can't think of any like nice and light ones to share here.
Yeah, well, I think that for me the biggest and the nicest experience was meeting all these Italian digital nomads in Basco last year. It was great, and it lasted kind of 2 months, and I organized all these because there was also Basco Nomad Fest which it's an event now. It was the second one last year. There were 400 people, 400 digital nomads for all over the world. And so I tried to organize this co-living around this Bansko Nomad Fest. And I saw people for the first time in real life. This was fantastic. And these were people that maybe I was chatting online for 2-3 years before. And the nice thing is that when you meet people that you have been talking online for so long, and you meet them in real, it's beautiful. It's like, yeah, it's normal. It's normal to meet this person. It has been always there, even if you met them always virtually before. So you don't feel this difference when you meet them online. It's like you know them. You have been knowing them for many years, and so this was a great experience, and that I like to repeat. I believe, as I said before, more than before, we need to stay in touch more in every kind, virtually or non-virtually, and this is really important. And to grow this community, I think is a great thing. I like what you are doing with DigiNomads, and also Anna, and to connect people, to stay together, to work together, and to have fun together. This is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, fully agree, Gianni. Anna, last word on you, and then I think we're close, because we're already 10 minutes beyond.
No, I would just say that I hope to see you all in real life somewhere, someplace in the world sometime soon. That would be.
Hold on, you're in Malta, in Palma de Mallorca?
Normally, yes. So normally I'm based in Palma de Mallorca. At the moment, traveling as much as I can. Just I think we all are, like, we're free again, semi, and traveling as much as we're able to. And so, yeah, if anyone is in Mallorca, please feel free to drop me a message and we can meet up for a coffee.
Yeah.
Definitely. I will be there probably.
Yeah, actually, there will be again a Bansko Nomad Fest end of June. So if you want to meet other digital nomads, it's at the end of June. Just Google Bansko Nomad Fest. It's 1 week of conferencing, activities, a lot of things going on. And actually, I will be there. And there will be also in Croatia, Nomad Base. I don't know if you heard about this, and it will be mid of May. So these are the next 2 events that, let's say 90% I will be there. So if you are around, feel free to come around and say hello.
Definitely. Maybe Bulgaria could be a possibility. I was planning to go to see my co-founders who's based in Bulgaria at the moment. And Palma, by the way, Anne, we were just talking like a few days ago. That looks to us a very good spot to live, Fuerteventura, Palma de Mallorca, and Sardinia.
This is true.
The islands.
As soon as new Spanish, I was listening before, I think as soon as these digital nomads things come into effect for Spain, I think it'd be great. It doesn't affect me because I've been there for too long. And I'm like, no. So yeah, I'm sure I'll see you more of you around Mallorca soon. It is a perfect place to be based.
Yeah, I think so. Gianni, Anne, thanks a lot for sharing your experience, your thoughts, and your guidance on this new lifestyle. And I hope to see you soon, either in Bulgaria, Croatia, or in Palma with you, Anne. Thanks a lot to everyone who has participated. And I want just to finalize, inform you that the recording will be available. So anyone who wants to rewatch is going to be possible. And see you the next virtual event. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Gianni.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.